Hello, folks. Welcome back to Circles. All right. So for this circle, we were looking to find the area and the circumference. So we were given the radius. I drew in the other radius to just show us that our diameter is equal to 18, and that's where I wrote that right there. So that kind of allows you some abilities to use different equations. But I'm going to use radius for both right here. All right, so our formula for area is right here. All right, so it's area equals pi times r squared. So then I just substituted our value for radius. Area equals pi times 9 squared. On my next step right here, I just evaluated 9 squared. So area equals pi times 81. And I just put that into my calculator as pi times 81. Some of your calculators, you'll be able to just put pi 81 and it'll multiply. Mine wasn't able to do that. So when I multiplied pi times 81, I got 254.469. Since we're looking to round to the nearest tenth, I'm looking at this value right here, 6. All right. All numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5 and up, we're going to round up. Okay, so our answer is going to be 254.5 square yards. All right, and remember with area, you always got to have your exponent there. Okay, so circumference, it's circumference, and our two choices for equations are right here. Equals 2 times pi times r, or pi times d. All right, so I used 2 pi r just because we're given the radius. I could have plugged in pi times 18. It would have worked out the same. So I did 2 times pi button times 9 on my calculator, and I got 56.5486. And now, again, we need to round to the nearest tenth. So I'm looking at this number 4 as my Q to find out if I'm going to round up or keep it the same. Since 4 is less than 5, we're going to keep our answer as 56.5. We're not going to round up. And we're going to have our unit as yards, not yards square, because area, we have square units. All right, let's move on to the next one. I'm probably going to use the big space around it. All right, so we are given 26 as our diameter. That means our radius is 13. How do I know that? 26 divided by 2 equals 13. Okay, so for my area, I'm going to plug it in here. Pi times our radius is 13 squared. Okay, and what I'm going to do first is find out what 13 squared is. Area equals pi, and all I did was 13 times 13 on my calculator. You could have done 13 squared as well. All right, for this one, I'm going to do pi multiply by 169 to get my answer. And we're going to get 530.929. And there's a bunch more decimals, but since we're rounding to the nearest tenth, I'm just going to cut it off there. So it's going to be 530. Oh, 2 is less than 5, so we're going to keep it as 0.9. We're not going to round it up to 531.0. We're going to keep it right there. All right, and that's going to be inches squared. All right. So for the next one, and again, I'm going to do it down here, kind of block off my space. So circumference is equal to pi times d. I'm going to use diameter because that's what we're given here, okay? So circumference equals pi times 26. Pi times 26 equals 81.681, and then it goes 4, da, 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 da. But I have enough to round. So I'm rounding this number, so I'm queuing on that number. 8 right here is larger than 5, so I'm going to boost that 0.6 to a 0.7, 81.7 inches. And again, we don't have our unit as inches squared for our circumference because it's a distance that we can measure with a ruler. Word problems. All right, I already pre-drew the drawing there for the circle. A baker is frosting the top of a cookie cake. The diameter of the circular cake is 30 centimeters. So that's what I drew right there. 30 is the diameter. How much space will the frosting cover? So when we frost a cake, it's going to be all of this. So we know that frost equals area. All right, we're not just going to frost the border, okay? So for area, we know that our equation is pi times r squared. Okay, first step, I'm just going to plug in my value for radius. 30 divided by 2 equals 15. So that just means 15 and 15. Pi times 15 squared. My next step, I'm just going to evaluate that exponent. So 15 times 15, or 15 squared, is 225. Now I'm going to multiply pi times 225, and I'm going to get an area of 706.8583, etc. Now I'm looking around to the nearest tenth, so my Q is going to be this 5 right here. 5 and above, give it a shove. All right, so now we're going to get our area as 706.9 centimeters squared. Next one. Okay, an artist is painting a mural. As part of the giant mural, she is painting the inside of the circle red. All right, so that's my cue. I'll get to that back later. The radius of the circle is 4.5 feet, which I've drawn above. How much space will she painting red on the mural? All right, so if she's painting the inside of a circle for a mural, she's painting all this. So we know that's area. All right, so again, we got our area formula, pi r squared. Since we already have our radius, it was given to us in the problem, it's going to be pi times 4.5 squared. First, I'm going to evaluate that. All right, so now all I did was multiply 4.5 times 4.5, or if you have a calculator with an exponent, you can do it like that. All right. So pi times 20.25 is equal to, we got a long one, 63.617251. All right, and we don't need the rest of them, but there's a lot more. All right, we're looking around our 10th place, so we're looking at this number 1. So 1 is lower than 5, so we're going to keep it as 0.6. We're not going to round up to 0.7. 0.6. Now we need our unit, feet squared, because area is always in square units. And up. All right, a roller skating rink at Roller-Rama is a perfect circle. The radius of the rink is 50 feet. How many feet does a skater travel with every lap of the rink? All right, so we're going to assume that we're going along the outside of the rink doing our laps. So that's like going, which we know is circumference. All right, so our two choices for circumference are 2 pi r or pi d, okay? So we're given our radius, so let's just use the one that has radius. 2 pi 50 equals, and I'm just going to put that right in my calculator. 2 times pi times 50 equals 314,159,265. All right, and now we are going to round this number, so we're going to Q on that 5. 5 and above, give it a shove, so that 0.1 is going to turn to 0.2. And this will be feet. Best of luck.